There is a late bus that does not exist on any schedule. People call it Route Zero. It comes only when the city is quiet and the road looks like a river of black glass. The time is always the same. Las 3:03 m. A college boy waited after a study group. He missed his normal bus. His phone died. He saw an old bus drifting through fog. No route number, no ads. Only a clean silver plate where the number should be. The doors opened with a soft breath. He stepped in and tapped his card. The machine beeped, but the driver did not look at him. The driver wore a cap low on his face and long gloves that covered every inch of skin. The bus smelled like rain that never fell. There were 3 rules printed above the driver in thin white letters. 1. Do not speak to the driver. 2. Do not open the windows. 3. If someone gets on without a shadow, pull the bell and get off. At the first stop, a woman in a red coat entered. Her coat was wet, but there was no sound of rain. She sat and stared at the floor. The boy glanced down. He saw her shadow. Good. At the next stop, a tall man climbed in. He smiled too wide. He did not blink. The boy looked at the floor by the man's shoes. No shadow. The boy's hand reached for the bell. The tall man turned his head without moving his neck, like a doll, and smiled even wider. The boy rang the bell so hard his fingers hurt. The bus stopped in the middle of a bridge. The doors opened. Wind rushed in. The boy ran out. He looked back and saw the woman in the red coat also stepping down. She touched his arm, cold as metal. You followed the rules, she said, so you can leave. Her shoes made no sound on the concrete. She turned and got back on. The bus drifted away. The river below was still. The boy checked the time. 3:05 a.m. He walked home. He never took a bus after midnight again. People say if you ever need to go somewhere, you should never go. Wait at 3:03 a.m. If you board Route Zero, read the rules. If a passenger stands without a shadow, do not be brave. Just ring the bell and step into the night you know. Basement level -2, a nurse told me this one. In her hospital, the elevator panel had a missing button. Between B and 1 there was a blank space. On some nights, the light would flicker there like a breath under ice. They called it level -2. A new intern worked the night shift. He was tired, hungry, and angry at life. He wheeled a cart of blood samples into the elevator. He pressed a B for basement. The doors closed. The panel buzzed, and a soft light glowed where the blank space was. The elevator moved down, not 1 floor, but 2. The doors opened to a hallway that smelled like old paper and winter air. The lights hummed, but did not brighten. The floor was clean, too clean. As if nobody had stepped there in years. He pushed the cart out. A sign on the wall read, "Records," and under it, "All returns must be silent." He called out, "Hello." His voice came back thin and late, like it had to remember how to return to him. He heard wheels behind him. He turned. His cart had shifted, not much, just enough to touch his heel. He pushed it forward fast. His chest felt cold. He heard a second set of wheels, slower, not his. He did not look back. He kept walking. At the end of the hall, he saw a window with thick glass, and behind the glass, shelves that held jars with brown labels. Nothing moved, but every jar had a date before the hospital was built. His breath made a fog bloom on the glass. A heartbeat later, there was a handprint on the other side of the glass, small, like a child's. He stepped back. The hallway lights dimmed. The cart rolled on its own. The jars on the far shelf turned just a fraction, the labels now facing him. The elevator bell rang, soft and polite. "Return what is not yours," a child's voice whispered. He pushed the cart back. His pulse thudded in his ears. The elevator doors were almost closed. He shoved the cart in and jumped. A small weight hit his back like a bird landing. He slapped the closed door button again and again. The doors sealed. He did not turn around. He stared at the numbers. The elevator rose 1 floor. Then 2, the weight lifted. The doors opened at the real basement. The fluorescent lights looked like morning. They say level -2 is for records that never belonged to the living. If the light glows where a button should not be, do not go. If you must go, do not speak, and return everything you took. Some places do not want to remember us. Some places want us to remember them. The girl in the green shore. There is a road outside the city where the trees lean in and the sky becomes a tunnel. Drivers say the air there tastes like iron, and radios go quiet. If you pass that road after midnight, you may see a girl walking. Her shawl is green, bright even in weak light. Her hair hides her face. She does not raise her hand for a ride. She just walks, slow and careful, as if counting steps. A taxi driver picked her up on a rainy night. She sat in the back and kept her face turned to the window. "Where to?" he asked. She whispered an address he did not know. A number 2, short for any street. He checked his mirror. Her shawl dripped water that did not wet the seat. He tried the radio. It stayed silent. He asked, "Are you okay?" She nodded once. He drove. The meter ticked. But the city outside the windows did not match his route. The buildings were familiar, but wrong. Every sign missing 1 letter. Every alley a little longer than it should be. They passed a small shrine. By the road, the girl suddenly leaned forward. The shawl brushed his cheek. Cold and smelling like mint and river stones. "Stop," she said. "Please." He braked. The girl opened the door and stepped out. The rain stopped without a sound. She walked to the shrine and put a coin on the stone ledge. Her hands shook. She turned to the driver and said, "Thank you for not asking to see my face." He looked down. The coin on the shrine was from a year that had not come yet. He looked up to ask her about it. She was gone. The back seat was dry. His meter was frozen on the number 13. His radio came back with a burst. A song he knew, but slower, like it was sinking in water. He drove away. He never took that road again. They say, if you see her, keep your eyes down. If she asks for a ride, drive her to the nearest shrine. Do not ask to see her face. If you are polite, she will leave a coin, and nothing else will follow you home. The motel with room 17 truckers talk about this place. A cheap motel off a lonely highway. The sign flickers. Vacancy. Some letters never work. The manager gives keys that are always a little sticky. The rooms smell like old soap. People sleep there because they must, not because they want to. There is one rule the manager repeats: room 17 is not for guests. Still, when the place is full and cash is ready, rules bend like dry branches. A man on a long drive demanded a bed. The manager sighed and gave him the key to 17. No calls. The manager said, no mirrors. The man laughed. He just wanted sleep. At midnight, the room phone rang. The man woke and did not answer. It rang again and again, 12 times. He picked it up. Hello. No voice came, only the sound of breathing, slow and steady, like someone sleeping with their mouth near the receiver. He hung up. He went to the bathroom. There was no mirror, only a pale rectangle on the wall where one had been. He felt silly. He took out his phone and turned on the selfie camera to shave with the front camera like a mirror. The screen showed his face, and behind him, a second bed that did not exist in the room. A figure lay on it under a grey sheet. The sheet rose and fell, slow and steady. He spun around. The second bed was not there. The phone fell from his hand and cracked. The room phone rang again. He did not answer. Instead, he took his bag and ran. When he reached the desk, the manager looked tired but not surprised. "I told you, no mirrors," the manager said. "The room likes to show you what it wants." The man left a wad of cash and drove into the dark. He checked into the next motel 3 hours away when he opened. His bag, his cracked phone was gone. In its place was a hotel notepad, room 17 printed at the top. On the first page, there was a message in his own handwriting. Even though he had not written it, "Please do not wake me. If you must sleep by the highway, ask for a room with a mirror on the wall. Avoid the ones that have a pale rectangle. And a phone that still works. Your phone will call you. This one is short." A friend swore it's true. If you speak your own full name 3 times into a dark screen at exactly 2:22 a.m., your phone will call you back. The line shows your own number. If you answer it, you will hear your own voice, not a recording. It will be your voice as you sounded as a child, or as you will sound when old and tired. It depends on what the night wants. A boy tried it for fun. He turned off the lights. He stared at the black mirror of the screen. He whispered his name 3 times. The room felt smaller. He laughed. Then his phone lit up. His number on the screen, he answered. His own voice spoke from the other side, but older, rough, like a life he had not lived yet. "I am calling you to tell you one thing," the voice said. "Do not take the job that calls tomorrow." The boy hung up. His heart pounded. He tried to sleep. In the morning, a company he loved finally called back. They offered a position in another city. He remembered the voice and ignored it. He took the job. He moved. 3 months later, he stood outside a building with glass on the ground and sirens in the air. A piece of the ceiling had fallen. It happened on a day he would have been inside. If he had not called in sick, maybe the warning saved him in a way he could not understand. Maybe it meant something else. He never tried the phone game again.